As our host, New Era, has stated, this is a new and exciting era for the city of Saginaw. What's nice about this project is it's not my project, and it's not a project of the city council nor the county commissioners. This is a community project. You look around the room here, these are the stakeholders. For many years, I would hear people say, bring back the old Saginaw, and I would dispute that. I'm ready for a new Saginaw, a new beginning down here. And we're seeing that by the diverse number of people that we have here working together to bring this all together. A new Saginaw, but yet staying connected to our roots. Look at this beautiful facility we're in right now, the Saginaw Club, one of the foundations of our downtown, and a very important part, but yet we look forward to that. So I give special thanks to all of those who have made this possible today. The list is long. I'm excited for Saginaw, and I look forward to today's City of Saginaw Community Summit meeting. Thank you.
It was pretty clear that this is one of those communities that's resilient, that has something in its DNA that does not allow its community or the leadership to ever give up, despite the big changes in the global economy, in our national economy, that have made things tough for our older industrial cities like Saginaw and like Flint. Like you, my hometown, this place, which I now consider also my home, has this spirit of perseverance. And so to see this room filled with people from across the spectrum of the community, to me, is a demonstration of the fact that you're doing what you need to do, you're doing what's right, you're doing what you have to do to prepare for that next period of economic growth, so that as we see our economy, our national economy, finding its footing again, that we don't leave anyone behind.
So I'm going to give you a summary of what is a charrette to begin with. For those of you who are here that might not be familiar with the term, it's basically an intense design exercise. We had a team of professionals that included civil engineers, architects, urban designers, landscape architects, and some illustrators here for about 5 days on the ground, working in Great Lakes Crossroads as an office, essentially. So with that team, the collaboration was also from the community. We had so many people come by and so many ideas. So the ideas that you see are not necessarily the design teams. We vetted them to make sure that they were feasible in some way, shape, or form. But mostly what you will see are ideas that came directly from the people in Saginaw itself. So it's all about a collaborative process. The main idea is bridging the river. Not just physically, but culturally, socially, economically. The idea that the river has for a while been almost a divide. But there are cities around the country that would see a river as such a huge amenity that the people basically want to explore and expand on that, knowing that this is an incredible natural resource right in the middle of the city. The topic tables that you see around the room are tied back to what came out of the charrette as far as the big ideas. So the advantage of the river almost falls in a transportation category. The idea that perhaps there is linkages, pedestrian ways across the railroad bridge. There are communities that have hung bridges off the side of railroad bridges that are pedestrian and bicycle paths. The idea that the river could be once again a usable water body, that there might be more places to put in boats. And one of the suggestions that came out was even a public beach on Ojibwe Island, so that you're not actually in the fast-running river, but Lake Linton, where it's a protected body of water that perhaps could be a big swimming hole. So we heard lots of interesting ideas, and including, as you can see, the dinner boat. Everybody got excited about the dinner boat.
Saginaw will tell you you're on the map and you're on a website that's being funded by the Economic Development Administration of the U.S. Department of Commerce. Thank you, Lee, and your people in Washington. But we're actively looking to bring manufacturing onshore from foreign countries. And you guys here in Saginaw have some real competitive advantages, not to mention a skilled workforce. So for this rollout, for achieving results as a result of this process, the first thing, as I mentioned, is where are we now? To assess the community, its competitive advantages, its resources, its assets, to develop that vision that the Congressman talked about a little bit. Where do we want to be in the future? Then get the implementation strategies, the action plans, right down to the projects and the management of the programs, and being, as they say, shovel ready. Well, Saginaw is shovel ready, so let's get digging. This community assessment, again, where are we now? And then where do we want to go? What is our destination? And you'll see most of you are sitting at tables: education, safety, economic development, etc., transportation. So as we move on in our session today, we're going to ask you to choose the topic that you'd like to contribute the most to and pull up a chair at that table. We have extra chairs in the back. We need to expand the seating a little bit. But we need to get some ideas generated in this room, so when we get into where do we want to be in the future, we have some ideas, we have some answers. The implementation strategies, then, once we know specifically where we want to be in these different topic areas, well, then it's to be putting together specific proposals with milestones, with performance measurements, with outcomes, with deliverables, things that are tangible and that will positively impact the future of the city of Saginaw. And then funding applications. I mentioned some of the people that are here in the room, and the reason that they are here and that they were invited is because you're demonstrating that you're beginning a road towards the future, and you're going to need some help along the way. And that's what these agencies are here for, and exist to help communities such as yours to get back on track and to plan a bright future, not just for you, but the kids that are 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old. We want them to have a lot of the opportunities that a lot of us had when we were growing up.
What we're going to do is each of the tables has a facilitator and also a representative who was at the Charrette the entire time. So if you have questions, they are there to help and guide the conversation. I want you to think about the topic that is sitting in front of you on that table. What are 3 goals that we'll take to make that particular topic? How do we make world-class education? How do we bring that here to Saginaw? What are those? So those are the goals. Those are the high ideals. Then we're going to step back and say, all right, what's holding us back right now? What are the 3 biggest hurdles we're facing in getting that world-class education system? And then 3 more points about how do we get over those hurdles, or what are the first steps that we can reach out to and try to make a difference to get to those goals. And then, as an icing on the cake, if your organization at that table sees something that they can spearhead, please let us know. We can do everything we can to support the organization and at least start getting some of this work that Larry has outlined, start it going and keep the momentum that was started in the Charrette by the citizens, keep it moving forward. So, all right, you have 2 minutes to find your new seats.
The three identified top priorities after we sifted through all of those were, number one was high expectations for student success. So whatever institution a student is attending, we make sure that he or she has high expectations that accompany them.
Also, the community taking ownership. We heard a lot about branding and marketing ourselves, and we need to be better at selling ourselves and talking positively about us.
We identified, 20 destinations for arts, culture, and entertainment on the first page there throughout the city. They're very kind of spread out. There's not necessarily density. There's some walkability issues. Generally, somebody wants to go to the Dow Event Center. They're going to hop in their car. They're going to get there. They're going to park. Then they're going to come out. And then they're going to get back in their car and go somewhere else. Creating that density here in downtown, I think, is very important.
The hurdles that we saw were redevelopment dollars and lack of inventory, and especially, there is a lack of inventory, but we have some development going on right now, and we're concerned whether or not we can fill what's already in process. So that's a big hurdle, filling what's already in the works.
Our challenges are, number one is obviously funding. In order for something like this to take place at the regional level, at the state level, and at the federal level, you have to have the funding mechanisms in place. Here in this state, our funding system that we partner with is so antiquated that it just does not meet the needs now, and so that would need to be restructured.
What can we do to make the change? We do have a crime prevention council right now. We'd like to re-energize that. That group is actually working with Saginaw Valley to refocus its efforts. And we think that once they get on course and get refocused, that will really help in our efforts here.
I think it's been a great session. It's met and exceeded, I think, all of our expectations. It's just a great statement of the commitment and the interest and the belief in the future that all of you are here. This is just the beginning. You're all going to be able to say, I was at this thing when it started. Hopefully, we will see progress and achievement after achievement after achievement, and we'll be seeing things that actually started in this room today.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and especially Mr. Molnar, who took time, and I think it's great to have him involved. And coming from a financial background, I think it was great to hear budget, milestone, and plan. So I think that's a great start for us. The Charrette was a great start, and that's what I've been talking to the community about when I go out, is that it's a start in the process. It's a long-term process, and that was the first step. So thank everybody for coming and participating today. And one thing that I just wanted to touch on too is that in our group, and we talked a lot about public safety and what we needed to do and what we can do. And one of the things that we talked through the issue and found that we already do have a community group that is working on all of the issues we talked about. And Chief Light mentioned that when he was up there, and it's something that's been hosted by the prosecutor for years. So I would encourage you all to think about what the city's already doing, and that's part of my job. One of the things that I want to make sure to do is that we aren't duplicating planning events and processes. So I'm looking out at a lot of people that serve on several committees for the city, so I want to make sure that all of our goals and objectives are part of this process. So thanks again for coming.